All right, shalom, shalom. I want to give all praise to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the Akim out there, spreading this truth like wildfire in all truth and in all sincerity. And shalom, shalom to the elect, to the rest of the elect, the men who, their lot wasn't to be or isn't to be prophets, which is why they're not able to prophesy, and the women who and children who believe. Shalom to y'all as well. Shalom to all the house of David. Bayat Dawudah. All right, I gotta start over because Esau Edom, the damn devil that the Bible speaks of, who are called Pink E in the brain in this live title. He took down my life. He fucked with the internet. This devil fucked with the internet right when I was gonna play that video. That's what he did. And of course, in typical Edomite fashion, right? When he's getting exposed, this is what he does. He'll shut you down. He'll do shit to hinder you. These devils, they're the physical sons of Satan on earth, and Satan was hindered. They're adversaries to us, top adversaries, and all that was Satan hindering, using his physical sons. Satan hindered me. This also happened to the Apostle Paul and to many others. 1 Thessalonians, I'm just going to bring this out and go straight to the point. 1 Thessalonians 2:18, wherefore we would have come unto you, even I, Paul, once and again, but Satan hindered us. And that's all it is. Satan hindering. And like also a sign of things to come with the famine of the word, man. This devil is doing that more and more. And he's about to pull the plug on this for real, man. And it's all prophecy, because by that time, which is coming soon, the elect is going to be sealed up. So there won't be no more need for this ministry, being fishers of men, being watchmen, because watching out for the elect. And also with the events that we were speaking of, they'll already be happening. These prophecies will be happening, full-fledged, but pretty much, all out. Basically, it's like the watchman warning the enemy coming when the enemy's already here. So we're coming into those times. Amos 8:11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. So this devil, he's about to cut off access to this word, but he's really, he thinks he's doing something, but it's all according to prophecy. He's in that by doing so, doing the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai on the left hand side. But it is what it is. We're coming into that time. We're coming into that time, where this devil, he's gonna make that move. But anyways, I'm gonna cut to the chase. Get on this topic that I was planning on going into, but I got rudely interrupted. By yours truly. Title of this live: Holdomor 2.0, aka Jacob's Trouble. Um, Pink E, and the Brains plan to starve the unjuiced into submission. I'm going to go into how it fits in with biblical prophecy. It's part 2, So let me get into it. I'm going to get into so I'm going to post that I'm just going to tell you. Okay, the video that I'm going into is a response to an Ice Age farmer video about basically how these devils is orchestrating this famine, and how they wanna starve the people, particularly the unjuiced, into submission. As you can link that up, with also what the assistant treasury secretary said about it won't stop till everybody chugs the juice down. Another round of shots. No, nobody's turning them down. And so really, he's trying to starve the unjuiced into submission. Esau is using food as a weapon. And he mentioned an event called Holdomor, man, where these devils, man, when you look into it, these devils did like he compared it to what was coming, and it was an event where these devils they orchestrated a famine, man, to put basically. I'm gonna get into it. The Holdomor, also known as the Terror Famine, and sometimes referred to as the Great Famine, was a famine in Soviet Ukraine from 1932 to 1933 that killed millions of Ukrainians. I'm gonna get into what the fuck was behind it, man. And you're gonna see, man. You're gonna see how it compares to what they're trying to do with this great reset. I've also compared it to the Great Leap Forward because it is the same type of shit that they're doing. Also, you could compare it to the potato famine, man. Potato famine that was forced on those Irish Jakes, man. And then of course 70 AD, the siege of Jerusalem. All right, so then the Babylonian siege, etc., man, etc. But yeah, I'm gonna get into this history of Holdomor. Holdomor was a man-made famine that convulsed the Soviet Republic of Ukraine from 1932 to 1933, peaking in the late spring of 1933. It was part of a broader Soviet famine, 1931 to 34, that also caused mass starvation in the grain-growing regions of Soviet, Russia, and Kazakhstan. The Ukrainian famine, however, was made deadlier by a series of political decrees and decisions that were aimed mostly or only at Ukraine, and an acknowledgement of its scale, the famine of 1932 to 33 is often called the Holdomor, a term derived from the Ukrainian words for hunger and extermination. Holod meaning hunger and extermination. More causes of the famine. The origins of the famine lay in the decision by Soviet leader Joseph Stalin to collectivize agriculture in 1929. Teams of Communist Party agitators forced peasants to relinquish their land, personal property, and sometimes housing to collective farms, and they deported so-called kulaks, wealthier peasants, as well as any peasant who resisted collectivization altogether. Collectivization led to a drop in production, the disorganization of the rural economy, and food shortages. Food shortages. It also sparked a series of peasant rebellions, including armed uprisings in some parts of Ukraine. And that Ice Age Farmer article, I suggest you Akim, you subscribe to that channel, you because he's one of them tutor. That's one of them half tutor accounts I call them because it's not a it's not they don't bring out the whole truth, but they do bring out a part of the truth. They do be putting these devils on blast, and basically, what these devils is calling for is they're calling for like the right to grow your own food and shit, like the right to raise animals specifically, like basically to be taken away. Basically, that's what they're calling for, and because they say that like it's dangerous, it's disease, it spreads disease, all that shit. Which that's all by design as well. The factory farms that was first pushed by these same devils. And now their solution is this. So their solution is that. They can starve out the people. There's already fucking there's already reports. It's came out, man, that the government is paying motherfuckers, paying farmers to fucking those motherfuckers is paying farmers to burn those to get rid of them crops and shit. Is paying them, telling them to do this shit, man. Like paying them and coercing them to do that shit. There's already reports of that, as well as you got Bill Gates. He was a Bill hates, right? Bill hates Jake. He was buying up all that. He's buying up all that land out there, man. Bill hates Jake. Owns is the biggest private farm owner in Babylon. Yeah, Bill hates Jake. Which he's for depopulation all the way. In fact, that's the reason why he's promoting he's promoting shit. He's promoting the happy juice. Fuck it. That's the reason why he's pushing the happy juice on the people, man. So, cause it's for depopulation, man. So another way, that just look up his innovating the zero TED talk. Look that up and listen closely, cause this devil tells you exactly, why basically like he's pushing that, why he's pushing the juice. He's pushing the potion on the people and shit. And even average individuals got out here gotta wonder. Your average Jakes, particularly, is who we worried about. You know, even you average Jakes out here, you gotta wonder, um, what the fuck does a computer scientist and CEO of Microsoft, which is a computer company, has nothing to do with healthcare or anything like that, have to do with with the the juice and pushing that shit? Like, why is he involved in that shit in the first place? That in itself should raise eyebrows, but it is what it is. But anyways, he's the largest owner of farmland here in Babylon, and then you have also China, which bought up a lot of land here. Esau, Moab, they're working together, man, because they both want the New World Order. Really, that was prophesied too, going back to Psalms 83, that crafty counsel, because this is really being aimed at the children of Israel, here in Babylon, these so-called black people, Latinos, natives, and mainly it consists of y'all as well as the speckled birds, Israelite foreigners scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, or whose descendants were scattered, and they later immigrated here. The descendants of those descendants later immigrated here. So, and it came out looking different, but fit the curses, got the zeal, and most importantly, if you can get this truth, you're a Jake, you're an Israelite. Only a Jake would really be into this truth in the first place. But yeah, watch that Ice Age farmer video. He goes into it, talking about Holdomor Part 2. No, it's titled that Holdomor 2.0, which is the same thing. Holdomor 2.0, no energy, no food, no fertilizer. No energy, no food, no fertilizer. Holdomor 2.0, question mark. That's what the video was titled. And he goes into that. I was going to show y'all, like, from my TV and shit, my smart TV. But my internet was, Esau fucked with my internet. So instead, I got to do it that way. But let me continue with the history of this history going into this event, Holdomor, because he mentioned that. And as you can see, if you haven't seen already, ain't peeped it yet, it's similar to what they're trying to do here and around the world. But it's going to be particularly like bad here, it's going to be pretty fucked up here because a lot of the tribes live here in Babylon. But yeah, in the land of the north, right? But let me continue. I was going into collectivization, how that was called in that. And that links right up to it because that they're trying to take away their right to farm, basically raise their own food and shit. Instead, you're gonna have the government or some private contractor feeding you some lab grown shit, some pink slime. Well, worse than that, Soylent Green type shit, bugs, and who knows what else, Soylent Green, let's just call it that. But basically, it was going into how that caused peasant rebellions, and you're gonna have that as well. Sedition among men, including armed uprisings in some parts of Ukraine, which is what the martial law troops are for. The rebellions worried Stalin because they were unfolding in provinces which had a decade earlier fought against the Red Army during the Russian Civil War. He was also concerned by anger and resistance to the state agricultural policy within the Ukrainian Communist Party. "Quote unquote, if we don't make an effort now to improve the situation in Ukraine," quote unquote, he wrote to his colleague Lazar Kaganovich, which I believe that was like the 1948er. Kaganovich. Stalin, I believe he was as well, man. When you look into it, it was both 1948ers. The Kagan, really, that name was telling because Kagan was like a ruler of Khazaria, which is where the 1948ers actually, what the 1948ers, that's one of the identities of the 1948ers, really. They're the tribe of Amalek, the chief house, or the synagogue of Satan. That's what they really are. But yeah, and they're behind this as well. In August 1932, quote unquote, we may lose Ukraine. That autumn, the Soviet Politburo, the elite leadership of the Soviet Communist Party, took a series of decisions that widened and deepened the famine in the Ukrainian countryside. Farms, village, there's already a bunch of some scriptures that's coming to mind, man. Farms, villages, and whole towns in Ukraine were placed on blacklists and forbidden from receiving food. Peasants were forbidden to leave the Ukrainian Republic in search of food. Despite growing starvation, food requisitions were increased and aid was not provided in sufficient quantities. Let's see what requisitions is, bro. That's a formal request for a product or service. A requisition is an order claiming or demanding property or material. They was taking that shit. And that's in them the National Defense Preparedness Orders, man. The EOs, man. Passed back in 2012 under that Hamite, he was not a Jake, he was not a so-called black man, he was a so-called African. That Hamite homosexual, that damn sodomite Obama, man. That puppet. He was behind he was the one they used to pass that. An order demanding the purchase of 100 guns for military use is an example of that. Requisition. Food requisitions were increased and aid was not provided in sufficient quantities. Let me get these scriptures, man. They're already coming to my mind, man. This is what Esau. This is the type of shit that Esau got planned for sure, man. Second Esdras 15. Sound like this right here is Second Esdras 16. I'm gonna start off right here, man. This kind of goes into that, man. Verse 68, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. And get down to the point. That goes into it. But also this, verse 69, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden underfoot. This time they're trying to give you that juice, which has all types of shit sacrificed in the idols. You better believe it. And it'll lead to the MOTB, which is, you're taking that, you're showing that obedience, allegiance by, you're showing allegiance by complete obedience, unconditional obedience to the beast. It's like a sacrifice that you're doing, putting that shit in your body is bad for you. Verse 70, which is to give you cancer and shit. Verse 70, for there shall be in every place and control you. You just do once you get that. Ultimately gonna be, incinerated in the lake of fire caused by the nukes that's gonna hit this place. You know, you're gonna be a fire sacrifice ultimately. Well, let me continue. Verse 70, for there shall be, this is where I'm going to get into it. For there shall be in every place, get down to the point. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. You know, you better believe this is aimed at Jake, man. Verse 71, they shall be like mad men, sparing none but still spoiling and destroying those that fear Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Spoiling. You know, spoil to take your shit, man. The spoil to practice plunder and robbery, man. Plunder and robbery. Just like what those EOs go into, man. And destroying those that fear Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, you know. They're particularly they're aiming at the elect, man. So those who truly fear him. But you 2/3 which have the zeal but not according to knowledge, you know, y'all are gonna be y'all are the ones that are really gonna be affected by this. Verse 72, yeah, cause you ain't got no comforter, man. You know, you ain't gonna have that wisdom, which is that gonna be the stability of your times, man. Verse 72, for they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Yep. Right there, man. Don't that sound like the type of shit that they was doing over here, man? Don't that sound like the same type of shit? You know, they was snatching their shit up, man. Food requisitions were increased and aid was not provided in sufficient quantities. You know? Yeah, you know, you're gonna be, you know, they're gonna cut back the food, that are gonna severely restrict it, also like how they show you in Squid Games. And they're gonna, yeah, you know, you're gonna fight them. You're gonna fight, man. Y'all are gonna fight with each other, man. Let me continue. The crisis, Salakium, having afflictions. The crisis reached its peak in the winter of 1932 to 33, when organized groups of police and communist apparatchiks ransacked the homes of peasants and took everything edible, from crops to personal food supplies to pets. Hunger and fear drove these actions, but they were enforced by a decade of hateful and conspiratorial rhetoric emanating from the highest levels of the Kremlin, which they're trying to link it to that as well. But like basically the people was being demonized, man. And also some right here that I peeped, man. This shit right here. Like it was worse during the winter, right? Dude, it's like these were trial runs. The winter, it reached its peak in the winter of 32 and to 33. What does Biden keep talking about? Dark winter, right? Ain't that some shit? You know, yeah. Hey, the dark winter, aka the Holdomor Part 2 in America this time. slacking. I'm gonna try my best to keep that at a minimum because it's a distraction. Let me get to what Yahushai, something that Yahushai said, prophesied about the times that are coming that should stick out like a sore thumb. Matthew 24, verse 20, but pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on a Shabbat, which is just Hebrew for Sabbath, where it comes from. Verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of this world to this time, nor ever shall be. Yeah, pray that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day, man. Because, and there's a reason why Yahushua said that, not only because, it's, you catch pure hell, man. In the winter, you have to flee during the winter, man. You're on the run during the winter. That's a bitch, especially on the Shabbat, man. You're supposed to keep it holy, set apart, man. Not supposed to be moving around, man. Not supposed to be working. Yo, man. But I could see something like that going down because verse 21, for then shall be great tribulation, such was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be, Great tribulation like never before, man. So you have to think it's going to be the worst case scenario, man. It's probably going to be in the winter, man. It's probably going to be in the winter. It's probably going to be on the Shabbat, man, on the true Shabbat, man. Probably is. Which is why Yahweh Shem Yahushai is going to have to defend his elect, and he will, man. Because, hey, it's going to get bad out here, man. Hey, worse, like the Holdomor, but worse. Like those other times I mentioned, but worse, man. All those rolled up into one. Which is why Daniel's chapter 12, let me get it. Because this goes in and it describes the times that are coming. Daniel chapter 12, verse 1, at that time shall Michael, Makayala in the Hebrew, stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book, the elect, right? So at that time, Makayala, man, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, man. Hey, that archangel Michael, man, he's gonna have to intervene. That's how bad it's gonna get, man. He's gonna have to intervene. They're them rolling on us on the Shabbat, man, in the middle of winter, or around that time period. Come on, man. Them rolling on us like that. That's gonna be, ooh, man. That's gonna be that's truly gonna be a time like no other, man. That's why you're absolutely gonna need Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. Like you're absolutely gonna need Yahweh Shem Shai, if you're not written in that book, man, honestly, you're through, man. Like it's a wrap for you, man. So let me continue. Let me continue. Which is why, let me get Isaiah 59:19, which is why Yahweh Shem Shai is going to have to intervene, man. Isaiah 59:19, he will for his elect. So shall they fear the name of Yahweh Shem Shai from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai shall lift up a standard against them. So they're going to fear Yahweh Shem Shai, when this happens, man, because, that's when he's going to really put in work, not only he's going to send angels to intervene, he's going to send, shit. Wasn't trying to, hope I didn't end this shit. Wasn't trying to end my life. Not done yet. But, yeah, bro. It's because it's gonna have to, because it's gonna be like a time like no other, a time like never before, man. And we're further going into this further, and it should also sound familiar to those who it should sound like something out of the Maccabees as well, man. This is something that these devils did, man. And they rolled on us during the Shabbat, man. They rolled on us during the Shabbat because we didn't want to follow their unrighteous decrees, man. Yo, man. It's like these devils. It's like these devils do the same fucking shit. Do the same fucking shit over and over again, man. Over and over again. It's like, wow, bro. Wow, bro. Hey, some of them so-called Ukrainians that was over there, man, could have been speckled birds, man. But let me get it going into that, because our people was like ruling Eastern Europe for the longest, man. Before those devils took over, man. And they first ruled from Kiev, Ukraine, before Moscow. So that was the czars, which were Jakes. But so you have to wonder, well, should know, man. They probably was, probably had speckled birds among them, higher concentration. So how they was done. The side note, a lot of these fucking atrocities, a lot of these wars that result in atrocities like that, where one side is just heavily affected by it, and like they don't get justice for it and shit, and still living with it. Now a lot of them, like, type of events, man, a lot of them are happening to Jakes, to speckled birds that / Israelite foreigners that scattered among these heathens and shit. Like, they know who the fuck our people is, man. Where the fuck our people mainly be at, scattered among them. So, based off that, this was probably what they was trying to achieve here as well. But yeah, it reads just like it's like what happened during the time of the Maccabees with Antiochus all over again, man. 1 Maccabees 1 and 20. And after that, Antiochus had smitten Egypt. He returned again in the 143rd year and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude. Verse 21, and entered proudly into the sanctuary and took away the golden altar and the candlestick of light and all the vessels thereof. Verse 22, and the table of the showbread and the pouring vessels and the vials and the censers of gold and the veil and the crown and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all of which he pulled off. Verse 23, he took also the silver and the gold and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found. Verse 24, and when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre, and spoke very proudly. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these events didn't have happened in the winter and shit. Verse 25. And also, I'm gonna read on down. These devils. They rolled on us on the Shabbat, man. Verse 25. Therefore, there was a great mourning in Israel in every place where they were. Verse 26. So that the princes and elders mourned, the virgins and young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed. Verse 27, every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat on the marriage chamber was in heaviness. Verse 28, the land also was moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. Verse 29, and after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, which came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude. Verse 30, and spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given them credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. Verse 31, and when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire, and pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side. Verse, it sound just like what they was doing back there. Then I'm gonna read on. Verse 32. But the women and children took they captive and possessed the cattle. Requisitions. Verse 33. Hey, eminent domain, all that, bro. Them executive orders, national defense preparedness executive orders, man. That all over again. That's what this is, that all over. That is this all over again. That's basically what they did here, man. And they're finna do this all over, all over again, man. They gonna come down with great wrath like this. Verse 33, then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them. Verse 34, and put therein oh shit. What are they got doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? What they do to the Capitol building? They fucking put up a fucking barrier around it, man. Which they use. They when you look into the Jan 6 events, which how is what they used to justify it, like it was staged, bro, just so they could do that, because they was gonna do some fuck shit. They're planning to do some fuck shit that was gonna piss everybody off. So they want to make sure that they were sheltered behind that wall and shit. So it lines right up, man. Verse 34, and they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortified themselves therein. Verse 35, they stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there, and so they became a sore snare. Verse 36, it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary and an evil adversary to Israel, man. And you best believe they have the same thing in mind, man. That was staged, man. That's just fucking smoke screen, man. Those those backyard militias, they're not actually the real threat, man. The real threat to these devils is the Akim, man. Because those backyard militias, those Edomite led, because you have some of our people fucking confused, like thinking that they're doing something right, in them as well, man. Being led by Edomites. Those Edomite led right wing backyard militias, man, they're fighting Big E, the Big 13 families and the government that's controlled by them with the blessing of Esau, man. With the blessing of Esau. So of course, and Big E, that's Big E. You know, Big E has more weapons than Little E. So they're gonna end up, and all that is just so their left hand is stronger than their left hand as well, and all that's gonna, that is being fomented. That's being, Esau stirring the pot, to cause that civil war anyway, so they can justify taking the guns. So these devils can have basically sitting ducks as targets who can't put up no type of fight at all. Because Esau likes a cheap shot. But yeah, that was really to keep out Jake, man. When Jake wakes up, especially I'll say, especially the elect, man. They're really worried about the elect coming in there and shit. Why they also got them underground bunkers as well, man. They're really worried about the elect, getting raised up, and showing up, popping up and whooping the ass X-Men style, man. Like they show in that movie, where the X-Men just X-Men broke into the White House and shit, man. Popped up in that bitch. It was fucking them up, man. That's what they're scared of, because they know that's real. That's the real reason. Verse 37, thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it. Verse 38, insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made a habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. Yeah. And also you could compare that. Well, Washington D.C., the city itself is more majority made up of Judites, man. Majority of them is Southern Kingdom. You got some Northern Kingdom, but majority is Southern Kingdom, including Southern Kingdom immigrants from West Africa and Haiti and shit. And it's majority Jake there. And you have, you could also look at the greater area of Babylon, not just like the capital city, modern day Rome, right? Modern day city of Rome, but the whole area, man. The whole area it's mainly where Jake be at, man. The land of the north. Verse 39, her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Shabbats into reproach, her honor into contempt. Verse 40, as had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. I'm gonna get on down to it where these devils rolled on us on the Shabbat, man. Verse 41, this that New World Order scripture. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. Verse 32, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. That's that New World Order shit, man. Really, Antiochus was doing what Nimrod had done, man. He was trying to do that, man. And even this whole spirit of America, man. We're all Americans, no matter what nationality we are, man. That all should be one people. Verse 42, and they want to expand that shit globally, man. They want to expand that shit globally, except without the guaranteed rights and shit. The United States of the world, man. They want to expand that shit globally. Verse 42, and everyone should leave his laws, so all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, imagine like the whole world being ruled under an iron fist by these same devils, man. Verse 43, yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, sold out, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. Verse 44, for the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. Verse 45, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Shabbats and festival days. Verse 46, and pollute the sanctuary in holy people. Verse 47, set up altars in groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts. Verse 48, that they should also leave, when you sacrifice some, you ate it as well. Keep that in mind. Consuming that jab, is going straight into your body, man. Verse 48, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. Which profane means outside the temple, something that was not allowed in the temple. They would make themselves like that, Verse 49, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. That's what they wanted. Esau wanted Jake to go completely off, man, so that our power would never help us. And you're wondering, how does this have to do with that? How does this have to do with Jacob's trouble, man? How does it have to do with that? Nowadays, well, let's take a look. And how it has to do with the push. The push to for our people to chug the juice, every last drop of it, shot by shot. Well, let's take a look. There's no longer a physical temple built by man on earth, man. The temple, the third temple, everybody be talking about, oh, it's going to be built up in Jerusalem and yada, 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 right? Nah, man. That third temple, is the bodies of the elect, man. Which temple you are. 1 Corinthians 3:16. Know ye not that ye are the temple, that ye are the temple of power Yahweh, and that the spirit of power Yahweh dwelleth in you? He dwelleth not in houses built with human hands. You know, that's like a total cut to all that, man. Your body is the temple. Slagia. Having gas issues. Dwell not in temples made with hands. Acts 7:48. Howbeit the Most High dwelt not in temples made with hands, as say the prophets. Verse 49. Heaven is my throne and earth is my footstool. What house will ye build with me? Said Yahweh, what is the place of my rest? Verse 50. Hath not my hand made all these things? Yeah, dude. So it's our body, man. As stated in that verse that I brought out before. And so what they're aiming at is defiling our bodies, man. Permanently. Because them unclean foods, yeah, they fuck up your body bad. But they don't stay in your body forever. You know, they pass through, let me get it. So Esau has to, yeah, Matthew's, hold on, Mark 7:19, because it entered not into his heart, but into the belly, but goes out into the drought, the ass basically, the asshole, purging all meat, because eventually it will leave your system, even though it does fuck it up. It is bad for you, but like the main deal will go through your system. But goes out into the drought, purging all meats, because basically he was going into how the shit that you do is what really defile you, man. It's what actually defile you. But he was not doing away with those dietary laws, man. So-called Christians like to use that scripture because he said not one jot or one tittle, right? He was just stressing the importance of those actions, man. That's all he was doing. But let me continue on these scriptures, and then I'm going to show you. So basically, my whole point bringing that scripture out is, they're injecting it in our bloodstream instead. That's what they're doing. And then the chip, that's going to be defiling us like continually, man. That chip will defile us continually. And also, it's going to have the juice, like they're going to put the juice in it so that you'll continually be getting defiled. Let me continue on, and then I'm going to continue reading about Holdomor. But let me get verse 44. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land. Verse 45. And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Shabbats and feast days. Oh yeah, kind of read that. And pollute the section. Yeah. I was actually at verse 48. That they should also leave their children uncircumcised. They had to set up altars and groves and chapels, idols, sacrifice swine's flesh, unclean beasts, pollute the sanctuary, holy people. Just a reminder. For those who are just tuning in as well. Verse 48, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation. Verse 49, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. Verse 50, and whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. Verse 51, in the self-same manner, he wrote he to his whole kingdom and appointed overseers, officers, or enforcers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Verse 52, then many of the people, so like basically sent out troops to enforce it. Verse 52, then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land. Verse 53, that was 52, the one before. One before is 51. I may have misread it before it was 50. Now I'm at 54. Now the 15th day of the month Caslu, and it's like a Greek way of saying, that Hebrew month. In the 140 and 50th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side. Verse 55, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And you better believe that those, the modern day, sinners where they're dishing out the Jews, the chipping centers that they're gonna set up at these FEMA camps and shit. That's just that all over again. Verse 56, and when they had rent in pieces the books of the law, which they found, they burnt them with fire. Verse 57, that was 56, that other one was 55. Okay, verse 57, and whosoever was found with any of the book of the testament, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandment was that the king should put him to death. And I read them, I told you what verses I read before just in case, I misread them and shit. I slipped up and misread them. But yeah, verse 58, thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities. Verse 59, now the 5 and 20th day of the month they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of power Yahweh, upon the altar of power Yahweh. Verse 60, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death, which is a complete abomination. Verse 60, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. Verse 61, and they hanged infants about their necks and rifled their houses and slew them that had circumcised them. Verse 62, howbeit many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. Verse 63, wherefore the rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats, and they might not profane the holy covenant, so then they died. Verse 64, and there was very great wrath upon Israel. And let me get that one part. And hold on. Let me continue. And if you notice that this screen is dark, it's cause I'm on another tab. That's all it is. And if you notice that I don't got a garment, it's cause I don't got a garment. Just FYI. I really don't have a garment, so it's not cause I'm avoiding a garment, avoiding wearing one. Like, why would I do that? But it's just because I don't have one right now. That's why I ain't been at camp either. Because you gotta wear a garment. But to remind the people, you gotta wear a garment and fringes. Remind the people of the laws, man. That's what the whole purpose is. Let me get down to the point. So basically, they was going around and afflicting the people, basically. Shit. Get to the point soon. Verse 1, in those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joarib, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. Verse 2, and he had 5 sons, Johanan, called Cades. Verse 3, Simon called Dasi, probably. Well, yeah, you already know what it is. Verse 4, Judas, who was called Maccabeus. Verse 5, Eleazar called Avaran, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphas. Verse 6, and when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem. Verse 7, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people, and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, into the sanctuary, into the hands of strangers. Verse 8, her temple is become as a man without glory. Verse 9, her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. Verse 10, what nation has not got a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? Verse 11, all her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she's become a bondslave. Verse 12, and behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. Verse 13, to what end therefore shall we live any longer? Verse 14, you want to end it. Verse 14, and Matthias and his sons rent their clothes and put off sackcloth and mourned very sore. Verse 15, in the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came to the city Modin to make them sacrifice. Verse 16, and many of Israel came unto them. Matthias also and the sons came together. Verse 17, and answered the king's officers and said to Matthias on this wise, Thou art a ruler, and an honorable and great man in the city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Verse 18, now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like all the heathen have done, yea, and the man of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem, so shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold, and many rewards. Shit. Let me just get to basically like he rebelled. He said, fuck that. And they went to the wilderness. But they got pursued, man. Shit. I have such an affliction. Tastes awful. Or maybe it's because it's been in the fridge. Probably. It's been in the fridge. Yeah. Probably. Keep some shit in the fridge like that for a long ass time. That probably caused it. Yeah, it tastes off, man. I stir it up for it. It does taste off. It's a lot. Now, when it was okay, and he is verse 27 and verse 26 thus dealt he, okay, went over that. Verse 27, and Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. Verse 28, so he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city. Verse 29, and many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there. Verse 30, both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increased sore upon them. Verse 31, now when it was told the king's servants in the host that was at Jerusalem, in the city of David, that certain men which had broken the king's commandment were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness. Hold on. Verse 32, they pursued after them a great number, came down with great wrath. Pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they campaigned against them and made war against them on the Shabbat day. Verse 33, and they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto suffice, come forth, and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live. Verse 34, but they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day. Verse 35, so they gave them the battle with all speed. Verse 36, howbeit came against them on the Yawam Shabbat, man. Yawam Shabbat, Sabbath day. Verse 36, howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid. Verse 37, but said, let us die in our innocency. Heaven and earth will testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully. Verse 38, so they rose up against them on the battle of the Shabbat on the Shabbat, and they slew them, massacred them really, with their wives and children on their cattle to the number of 1,000 people. And Esau, hold on. Esau, he was able to get rid of, like, he took out a lot of people that day, but you may have you're gonna have some martyrs, but you're also gonna have that standard being raised up, so you're gonna have the different outcome, Salakia, for that. It was different times during those days, where you had, today you have more advanced weaponry and shit. So back then, they was put to death, and then you had the Maccabees get rose up, and they was taking out Esau, using the sword and shit. But this time it's gonna be different in that way, We're gonna need spiritual power, and it's gonna be given to us. Now, when Mattathias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore. I think I addressed the point. Verse 40, one of them, just going to read these last two. And one of them said to another, if we do as our brethren have done and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. We're going to be transformed into that. This time, it's going to be Maccabees with spiritual power, The elect is going to be turned into that, Maccabees with spiritual power, man. So that we could fight, so we could take on these devils in their advanced weaponry. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is going to level his men up. But I'm going to go back to that history of that Holdomor event, and it lines right up with it, man. What was going on? This is just another example we could look at, these devils rolling, basically, and basically like all these historical events, man. What was written before? Let me get that written for our learning, man. Not just like, I know the script is mainly referring to the scriptures, particularly the history that's in there, but also you could take historical events like this, and apply it to that. What was written before was written for our learning. Romans 15:4, KJV. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. and also see the pattern of what they're doing, and peep it. Watch for the signs, man, because it's a similar MO, really the same. They just tweaked it some. Same MO that they're using, man. That autumn, the Soviet Politburo, the elite leadership of the Soviet Communist Party, took a series of decisions that widened and deepened the famine in the Ukrainian countryside. That autumn, farms, villages, and whole towns in Ukraine were placed on blacklists and prevented from receiving food. Peasants were forbidden to leave the Ukrainian Republic in search for food. Oh shit. Farms, towns, and whole villages and whole towns in Ukraine were placed on blacklists and prevented from receiving food. Oh shit. Like a siege, man. And hey, like lockdowns and shit, like what they doing in Australia, bro. Like what they doing in Australia. Ooh. Can't leave from one state to go to another. Can't. Hey. Hey, that's scriptural as well, man. Hey. Second Ezra's 15. Anybody? Second Ezra's chapter 15. Anybody? Second Ezra's 15. Oh shit. It's all there. Verse 16. What was they talking about? Peasant uprisings and shit. Verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city. Really, this is the kicker right here. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. It's right there. Verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. So, hey, man, the houses are going to be destroyed, man. The city shall be troubled, man, starving. Houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid, man. Men shall be afraid. And I wouldn't, let me continue reading. I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if you had incidents where these motherfuckers was robbing each other, man, for food and shit like that. Yeah, peasants were forbidden to leave the Ukrainian Republic in search for food. It was like a blockade or a siege. Despite growing starvation, food requisitions were increased and aid was not provided in significant quantities, amounts. The crisis reached its peak in the dark winter of 1932 to 33, when organized groups of, of police and communist apparatchiks ransacked the homes of peasants and took everything edible. Yep, from crops to personal food supplies to pets. So your fucking bug out bags, man. To pets. Even those, because you can eat them. Well, it's unclean. They're unclean, but, people are going to eat them. Hunger and fear drove those actions, but okay. Let me continue. From famine to extermination. And you could you could compare it, that hateful conspiratorial rhetoric, that really you could compare it to what the what Esau is pushing out about the people who don't want to take all the shots like Kobe, man. So it's the same sort of shit going on, man. From famine to extermination, they wanted to wipe them out. The result, just like they want to wipe us out. Like I said before, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of those Ukrainians that was affected with speckled birds, man. But even this devil's gonna run through his own just to get to us as well. The result of Stalin's campaign was catastrophic. In spring 1933, death rates in Ukraine. Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them was, speckled birds, because it was it was targeted at them specifically. You know how what I brought out earlier. Think about that. Between 1931 and 1934, at least 5 million people perished of hunger all across the USSR. Among them, according to a study of conducted by a team of Ukrainian demographers, were at least 3.9 million Ukrainians. Police archived certain multiple descriptions of instances of cannibalism, as well as lawlessness, death, and lynching. So, like I said before, and that's verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. There you go, man. This is like Jacob's Trouble edition, 500, I don't know. This be the last one, man, the worst edition. The grand finale. Jacob's Trouble, the grand finale. So we're looking at. Mass graves were dug across the countryside. Hunger also affected the urban population, though many were able to survive thanks to ration cards. Still, in Ukraine's largest cities, corpses could be seen on the streets. What's going to be ration cards, what's going to be their solution to, what's going to be their solution? It's going to be, come to these camps, these FEMA camps we set up. We got food, we got food, we got water, we got food, we got water, we got shelter. All you gotta do is all you gotta do is fuck with this juice, bro. And all you gotta do is really, by that time, all you gotta do is get a little chip in you, man. That's all you gotta do. That's what they're gonna be on, man. That's gonna be your digital ration card, man. You better believe they're gonna restrict what you can buy, how much and shit. You better believe it. So even that part right there, man, it all links up. It all links up, man. That was their attempt at a new world order over there, man. That's what that was. Hold on. I'm trying to fix myself something to eat. if I could put this to use. The famine was accompanied by, hold on, by broader present, hold on, a broader assault on Ukrainian identity. Hold on. Which, what are they aiming at here, man? What are they really aiming at here? What are they really aiming at? What they really trying to do? Esau, man. This guy is a fucking bitch. This guy tried to fucking prevent me from looking this up, man. Get the fuck out of here. Chingao. Hodu. Doesn't say. Sligo, thinking out loud. Salakia. Alright. Oh shit. Yeah, I was just disregard that shit. I was dealing with some. This is fucking dog food. Salaka. For the interruptions. Okay, so slacking. Fuck, hold on. Slacking. Hold on. Slacking. Get back on it. I'm gonna get back on it. All right, let me get to it. Get back to what I was getting into. I'm gonna try to wrap it up soon. It's hard though. Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep reading. Showing you how similar this is. A famine was accompanied by a broader assault on Ukrainian identity. You could substitute that with the Israelite identity. This time that's who they really aiming at. They're trying to shut that down. While peasants were dying by the millions, agents of the Soviet secret police were targeting the Ukrainian political establishment and intelligentsia. The famine provided cover for a campaign of repression and persecution that was carried out against Ukrainian culture and Ukrainian religious leaders. The official policy of Ukrainization, which had encouraged the use of the Ukrainian language, was effectively halted. Moreover, anyone connected to the short-lived Ukrainian People's Republic, an independent government that had been declared in June 1917 in the wake of the Federal Revolution, but was dismantled after the Bolsheviks conquered Ukrainian territory, was subjected to vicious reprisals. All those targeted. Also, anyone that's not down with the New World Order, that's also who they're going after. But really, we the biggest threats. The brothers, Akim, and it's true. All those targeted by this campaign were liable to be publicly vilified, jailed. Oh yeah, publicly vilified, jailed, sent to the gulag, which that's to the FEMA camps is that all over again. A system of Soviet prisons and forced labor camps or executed, knowing that this Russification problem would eventually reach him. Mykola Safreni, one of the best known Skripnik, I guess that dude's name is, one of the best known leaders of the Ukrainian Communist Party, committed suicide rather than submit to one of Stalin's show trials. As the famine was happening, news of it was deliberately silenced by Soviet bureaucrats. Party officials did not mention it in public. Western journalists based in Moscow were instructed not to write about it. One of the most famous Moscow correspondents at the time, Walter Durancy of the New York Times, went out of his way to dismiss reports of the famine when they were published by young freelancer Garrett Jones, as he thought Mr. Jones' judgment was somewhat hasty. Jones was murdered under suspicious circumstances in 1935 in Japanese-occupied Mongolia. Stalin went so far as to repress the results of census taken in 1937. The administrators of that census were arrested and murdered, part because the famine revealed the destination of Ukrainian population. So, anyways, that event is like real similar to what they trying to roll out here, man. Which is why I brought it up. It was interesting that that dude, which I think he's an Edomite. I think he's an Edomite, but who knows? Brought out. I just say that Edomite looking dude, that Edomite looking past brought out on that like brought out on their plans to do it, to basically take away the rights of people to grow their own food and shit, so that the food will be in their hands, man. And let me get like basically it's a push for that. And there's other ways that they're trying to that they've been disrupting the grid. Well, they've been disrupting the supply chain, causing those shortages. And you get this right here that reminded me of this scripture, Isaiah 10:1. 10:1 KJV. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and to right grievousness which they have prescribed. Verse 2, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and take away the right from the poor, my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. Yep. This is exactly what Esau is trying to do to Jake here. This is what they're trying to do, man. This is their plan. And you know, this this event in history is an example, what they trying to do here. And you can look back at it, look back at what they trying to do, like to usher it in and shit. And hey, and then watch for the signs. You see them. They're trying to implement them here. That same type of shit here. If you notice, Esau Edom follows the same MO each time. Nothing new under the sun, right? And this devil does not change. On Ecclesiastes 1:9, the thing that hath been is that which shall be done. And that which is done is that which shall be done. There's just no new thing under the sun. Not even people. They're not actually new. They've been around. And Esau, he's not going to change. He's going to use the same MO, man. I mean, you may call it something different, but it's the same shit. Though, hey, Ecclesiastes 12, man. About your enemy. Never trust thine enemy, verse 10, because he don't change, right? He's still the wicked, meaning he's still the wicked, and he's still, not only that, it's still, his MO is the same. Never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rust, his soul is his wickedness. Verse 11, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be as thou hast wiped a looking glass. Salakia. Shit, slow down. Phone slowed down on me. And then this always happens. I always lose where I'm at and shit. Fucking sucks. This always happens. It's fucking annoying. The internet will slow down. Really, it's because these devils are mad that I'm bringing it out. Esau was hurt. This devil hurt. This devil is fucking hurt. All the way over here, huh? Wait. Nah. Ain't even in here. Y'all fucking lost. I lost track of that shit cause of this fucking devil, man. Slowed it up so that I accidentally pressed on the tab button, and now I'm having to go back. Hey, it's fucking bullshit for real. Slog for that. Saying be Henry. Fuck. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and be aware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust had not altogether wiped had not been altogether wiped away, man. It was the same devil using the same type of tactics. All right, so with that, I hope this, hold on. And if you think you change, you're going to be pricked therewith, man, with regret, also literally. Though he humbled himself in verse 12, set him not by thee, lest when he had overthrown thee, stand up in thy place, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last, remember our words to be pricked therewith. Verse 13, who will pity a charmer, Salaka, that has been with a serpent or any such as come nigh wild beasts, like not even us, because we told you. Verse 14, so one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with them in his sins, who will pity, who is going to feel bad for you. Jerusalem, y'all stay doing that. Verse 15, for a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. Verse 16, like not going to be with you. Verse 16, the enemy speaks sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if you find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Yep, because he's going to cause this shit, and then you're going to go to this devil and get stabbed right in the back or in your wrist or your right wrist or left wrist, and your head as well, We're going to hit with that baby sword. Verse 17, and he's not going to be satisfied with blood, man. Never is. Wants your soul too. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. Verse 18, he will shake his hands every time, man, pretend to help you. The factory farms was this devil's idea, man. It was this devil's idea, man. And it was they introduced it because and people thought they was trying to help because they said they was trying to help. But really, yeah, shall he undermine me. And look, lo and behold. And then each time he does it, man, Verse 18, he will shake his head, he will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance. Yep. And Biden told you, the jab was not going to be man. The thingamajig, man. The right jab or the left jab was not going to be mandatory. Told you that shit. Told you, these devils, man, they'll say the damnedest things just to get you to trust them. Speak sweetly with their lips, man. And hey, the communist party, what is that supposed to mean? Like for the people, right? Communal for the community, right? So they was thinking, oh, so that's what it's for, man. That's what it's for. Shit, the people's the so that's what they think. Like the people that's for all this, or we're trying to help the poor and shit like that, acting like they're on your side and shit. That's all they're like, man. They're really fucking they're really playing you, man. Shit, I yeah, they're really playing you like, and that's like both on the left wing, on the right wing side of the eagle, man. You know, make America great again, but did he? Shit. Same thing with this devil, Joe though. You know, I ain't gonna make vaccine. So like, I ain't gonna make I ain't gonna make that right jab or that left jab. I ain't gonna make all that mandatory. But he did, man. I mean, he's doing it slowly. He's already made it mandatory for some people. So, that was a lie. But yeah, these devils, they getting ready to make their move, that dark winter, they getting ready to bring it. And they started in the fall, like notice how it lines up. They started in the fall of 1932 and shit. And it was bad during the winter. It was real bad. And they took away everybody's food. You will own nothing and be happy, like that devil Klaus Schwab said, man. So this is in their plans. Because Esau will own everything. Big Esau will own everything. You'll own nothing. So really, it's going from the middle class, which is like disappearing quickly, from the rich, middle, and middle class disappearing quickly. This gonna finish it off to the motherfucking have it all, from the have nots to have it all, and have none at all. Basically, it's gonna get down to that. You don't have everybody else. The elites have it all, and everybody else don't have shit. Even they don't even have their own bodies. But with that, I hope this live was edifying. I want to give all praise to the internet's still not on. Let me try that shit. I'll wrap it up soon, man. This shit should be Gucci since they said it. Oh, since they said that, you know. At around 7:30 some, right? But it is what it is. It is what it is, man. Still flashing. Probably just gonna wrap it up. Still flashing. Still blinking. Satan, what can I say? Let's see something. But then I'll just, if I do anything, I'll just show that video. Alright, so not able to show that video this time around. Just look it up. Look up Holdomor. Alright, so with that, I hope this live was edifying. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna post that in the comment section. There you go. Just click on it. Fuckers. I'm gonna fucking do this. I'm gonna share it. Post it on the comment board. Let me do this. That article. Alright, so with that, you know, the comment above is the video. I say the former video, and the one below it is about Holdomor. You know, it's basics on it. You know what Esau's gonna tell you about it basically. Alright, so with that, I hope this live was edifying. I want to give all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushai B'Shem Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the Akim out there spreading the truth like wildfire and all truth and in all sincerity. Shalom to the real system, and shalom to the elect, the rest of the elect, the men who can't prophesy but they do believe, the women and children who but they do believe, you know, and they're friends of the prophets. And the women and children who also sincerely believe. Shalom, stay strong, and this place is going down quick. Continue to put up curses on Babylon the Great, on Esau, Edom, on these heathens in 2/3. Shalom, stay strong. Abad Abal, Abad Adawanium, Abad Lagwayim, Nabala 2/3. Shalom and Israelites, Yashra got next, starting with the elect. Shalom to Shalom, stay strong. Shalom, stay strong. Abad Abal and Yashra forever.